Ben, thank you for waiting so patiently. I believe that you have a terrible and tawdry tale to tell.
Well, I do, but just to sort of look back on, since setting up the housing sector podcast, I was pretty much unaware of the cladding issue beyond what we'd heard from Grenfell. And since then, I've had conversations with the Welsh Gladiators, Giles Grover, Deepa, who's someone you mentioned there, Matt, as well. And these issues just, they're so widespread, and there is no place in the mainstream media for that. And it's not just cladding. We've had issues with retrofitting, problems, Dan Bruce, Matt Lismore, and so many that I will forget and I'm sorry for. And the problem is we have watered down legislation. We have the likes of Birmingham City Council, who I recently did a podcast and blog on, who simply have no money to make the corrections that are needed. But more importantly, and what underscores all of this, is there's no consequence. There are no repercussions for any of this. There's been no prosecutions for Grenfell. And if you cannot prosecute people for the loss of 72 lives, then where's the bite? You have no bite. We have no comeback. And it's part of the reason that I started the Housing Sector podcast, because I want to give a platform for people to be able to speak out. And it's why platforms like your own here are growing, because we need that audience, but we need to reach more people. More people need to be woken up from it. And I fear there's so much bad news at the minute around immigration, national health, education. Housing is just another one that the government can't deal with, so refuses to engage with. And then to come back to the sort of legal action that I alone have faced, just when I started out with my own landlord, Green Square Accord, and raising valid issues that had been upheld by the Housing Ombudsman. And I found myself in front of the courts twice. I've been accused of everything from harassment to copyright law. And they tried to get an injunction on me where I agreed not to be annoying. Well, being annoying is so open to interpretation that I couldn't possibly agree to it.
I think my wife would like the same thing about me. Unfortunately, I don't think they're ever going to stop. Carry on.
My wife dines out on the joke that her husband has been taken to court for being annoying. That is her favourite joke. And then it still carries on. I mean, today I've just published a blog about their communications director who still actively goes after content on YouTube, who tries to get my website taken down. And they've never come after me for libel or slander. They've never done that because everything is backed with facts. I've got the facts. It was discussed in the House of Commons, my own case, strategic lawsuit against public participation. And that's what these housing associations, the same housing associations who will go, the residents, the customers are at the heart of everything we do. This is our customer engagement tale. This is what we're doing to learn from our mistakes. Are the same companies who are now using the legal system to stop people like myself, Steve Day, from talking out and raising it. And again, as Matt says, it links back to the very Grenfell report that highlighted this as a critical issue in the safety of residents.
Well, what gets me is even with the remediation going, they're going to still leave large patches on the stairwell with a content which has got a similar composition to barbecue firelighters. I mean, I just don't understand the logic behind it.
The legislation is so watered down now, and it has to be, because Labour's come out with we are going to build 1.5 million homes. That's what we're going to do, and we cannot do that. They can't do that if they make legislation. If they make it too hard to build, people just aren't interested. They won't do it. They'll invest their money elsewhere.
So hang on, are you saying that they've effectively said, look, we'll make it so you can build the houses out of straw, even though the big bad wolf is around the corner, I may well blow them down, just because I know you guys are only willing to build stuff out of straw? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's sort of what I'm saying. Yes, the legislation...
Please, can we hold into it, please?
The legislation is being watered down. There's no doubt about it. And it has to be, because, we can't build homes if they're too expensive to build, and if they're not making money, no one's interested. And this is the crux we find ourselves in, part of a capitalist society, isn't it? And there has to be. Put it back to the council and say we need to provide homes. And if you start to provide homes that are safe, that are of quality, then people thrive and they bring back revenue into your society. They also are not such a dredge on your well-being, as we've mentioned, the health risks, the NHS, the education system. All of this crumbles under the weight of poor housing. Poor housing is at the foundation of the rock. What we need is good, stable foundations to grow in, to be supported in, to feel safe in. Once we've got that, we can all thrive in our own way. But without that, that's the chink in the chain, as I'm trying to say.
Thank you, Ben, and may the force be with you.